did your child say in court that saved someone's life? People always laughed at my 6-year-old son, Noah, because he repeated absolutely everything he heard. Not just conversations. Everything. TV commercials, store announcements, neighbors talking across the fence, even the automated voice at the grocery checkout. It became a running joke in our family that if anyone wanted to know exactly what happened somewhere, they should ask Noah. He remembered things better than most adults. I never imagined that strange little habit would one day decide someone's future. It all started when our neighbor, Mr. Collins, was arrested. One afternoon, police cars filled our quiet street. His wife had been found unconscious at the bottom of the basement stairs. She survived, but she couldn't remember how she fell. The police believed they'd argued. Several neighbors admitted they'd heard shouting from the house before. The detectives claimed the evidence pointed toward Mr. Collins pushing her. Honestly, I believed it too. The entire neighborhood did. A few days later, while I was making dinner, Noah looked up from his coloring book and asked me something that made no sense. Dad, why did the lady keep saying she forgot the broken step? I barely looked up. What broken step? The funny step in their basement. I smiled and told him he probably dreamed it. Kids mix imagination with reality all the time. I thought nothing of it. Then, about 2 weeks later, we received a court summons. Apparently, Noah had been outside playing with chalk the afternoon everything happened. The defense wanted to ask him a few questions. I hated the idea. He was only 6. But the judge allowed a short testimony. The courtroom smiled when Noah climbed into the witness box holding his little dinosaur toy. He looked more interested in the microphone than the people. The defense attorney spoke softly. Noah, do you remember that afternoon? He nodded immediately. I was drawing race cars. What did you hear? The washing machine finished. People looked confused. He continued. It made 3 beeps. The attorney smiled politely. And then, Mr. Collins said, stay there. I'll carry it. What happened next? Noah acted out someone walking down invisible stairs. Then she laughed. The attorney paused. She laughed? Yeah. What did she say? Noah answered without thinking. She said, I always forget that last little step. The courtroom suddenly became silent. Even the judge leaned forward. The prosecutor interrupted. How could you possibly remember something like that? Noah shrugged. Because she says it every Saturday. Nobody expected that answer. The trial stopped early that afternoon. Investigators returned to the house. Construction records revealed the basement staircase had been repaired years earlier after water damage. The bottom step had been rebuilt slightly shorter than the rest. Almost everyone who visited the house admitted they'd stumbled there at least once. Police also reviewed security footage from a nearby home that hadn't been collected before. It showed Mr. Collins running outside, yelling for help almost immediately after the fall. There wasn't enough time for him to attack his wife and then create a fake accident. Medical experts reviewed everything again. They concluded her injuries matched someone losing balance and falling backward naturally. Nothing suggested she had been shoved. A week later, the jury reached its decision. Not guilty. Mr. Collins buried his face in his hands and cried. His wife cried too. She hugged him before anyone else could. She later admitted that waking up in a hospital surrounded by detectives had made her question everything, even though she couldn't remember the accident herself. A month after the trial, they invited us over for dinner. Before dessert, Mr. Collins disappeared upstairs. When he came back, he handed Noah a small wooden box filled with brand new colored pencils. Noah smiled. For me? Mr. Collins nodded. You noticed something the rest of us ignored. Noah looked completely confused. I didn't notice anything. What do you mean? He shrugged with the most innocent smile I'd ever seen. I was just listening. That answer hit me harder than anything said during the trial. Years have passed since then. Noah is a teenager now, and he barely remembers the case. But every time someone asks why I always pay attention when children quietly tell a story, I remember that courtroom. Sometimes adults are too busy building theories. Children are simply paying attention, and every now and then, the smallest voice in the room ends up telling the biggest truth.